be prepared. The eclipse is almost here, and it will affect you and everyone around you. Today marks the start of something rare, a partial lunar eclipse that doesn't just play tricks with light. It temporarily erases the Pleiades, also known as the Seven Sisters. But this isn't just astronomy, and it's not just tonight. The peak of this eclipse is hitting tomorrow, July 21st. But make no mistake, the effects are already slipping into your life, into your thoughts. Especially if you're even slightly spiritually attuned, you're going to feel something. Maybe you already are, because one of the signs, it's something that happens to you all the time, but you've never realized it's spiritual. I'll get into that soon. But there's something even bigger you need to understand first, because the Seven Sisters, they're not what you think they are. They've been watching you since the day you were born. But tonight, they turn their backs. The Pleiades aren't just a pretty pattern in the sky. They're not just symbols. They've been seen as guardians, gateways, and yes, watchers by cultures across the world for thousands of years. And now, during this eclipse, the moon doesn't just shadow their light, it silences their gaze. This moment right now marks the rare event where the watchers look away. And when that happens, something changes. Something ancient shifts its weight onto your shoulders. Even people who don't care about astrology will feel it. Because when they stop watching, it's not about what's above anymore. It's about you. But here's the catch. When they turn away, something else steps forward. And that's when the real symptoms start. Sometimes, the illusion is louder than the truth. As the moon moves into position and begins to shadow the Pleiades, something strange happens, not just in the sky, but inside you. For a few hours, especially around the peak of this eclipse, you might suddenly feel like everything in your life is falling apart. Out of nowhere, this quiet heaviness creeps in. A feeling like you're behind on everything, like everyone else is moving forward and you're standing still, failing. But here's the thing, nothing is actually wrong. This isn't about your job, your path, or your purpose. It's an energetic distortion. The Pleiades, a cluster long associated with memory, guidance, and direction, is being dimmed. What you're feeling isn't failure. It's the brief silence between signals. When you lose your sense of direction, it doesn't mean you've lost the path, just that the lights flickered for a moment, and that flicker can feel intensely real when you're in it. Some will try to fight it, to scramble and fix something that isn't actually broken. Others will spiral, second-guessing every decision they've made. But the key is recognizing it for what it is, a false drop. A test of emotional gravity. Let the weight pass. Because what comes next will restore more than just direction. It'll separate those who are tuned in from those who are completely shut out. Not every silence means absence. Some things are whispering, just not to you. This eclipse isn't total. That's the trick. It's not an on-off switch, it's a filter. And filters don't just dim, they select. Tonight, some people will feel like their intuition has been wiped clean, like their inner voice has gone completely silent. It'll feel like a wall has gone up between them and whatever they usually connect to. Meanwhile, others will get hit with a flood of sudden, undeniable insight. They'll know things they can't explain. They'll sense people's motives, future outcomes, even sudden shifts in their own path, and it'll feel like the truth is screaming at them through their gut. But here's the twist. This divide isn't random. The moon, during this partial eclipse, is acting like a gatekeeper. It's not blocking intuition entirely, it's redirecting it, filtering it. Some people are tuned in to the frequency tonight, others aren't. And that can be frustrating, especially in relationships when one person is riding a wave of crystal clarity and the other is in total fog. It might create tension, misunderstandings. But it's all part of the spiritual sorting that this eclipse initiates. Tonight, don't assume your intuition is gone. If it's quiet, it's being rerouted. And if it's loud, you were meant to hear something specific, something that can't wait. Seven isn't just a number. It's a message wrapped in repetition, knocking louder every time you ignore it. Something strange is happening. You might have seen the number 7 lately on clocks, receipts, messages, random places where your eyes land without trying. And maybe you brushed it off as just another angel number or some recycled numerology concept you've heard 1,000 times before. But today, it's different. This eclipse isn't just cutting light, it's rearranging symbols. Think about it. The moon, ruler of Cancer, a water sign tied to emotion, ancestry, and the subconscious, is partially eclipsing the Pleiades, a star cluster known as the 7 Sisters. But in this case, the layers of 7 are what matter. You're not just seeing a number, you're being pulled into a pattern. 7 is everywhere for a reason. 7 days in a week, 7 chakras, 7 notes in a scale, 7 stages of grief. It shows up across time, cultures, systems, not because of coincidence, but because of completion. But this isn't the kind of completion where confetti falls and something ends with applause. This is the whispering kind, the quiet finish before the loud beginning. The moment of pause that most people miss because it doesn't scream for attention. And right now, it's folding itself into your life in subtle ways. You might feel like certain chapters are ending, friendships that fade without drama, habits that suddenly feel empty, emotions that no longer trigger you like they used to. There's no big announcement, no chaos, just a low hum of something closing. Quiet doors sealing themselves in the background of your life. That's what 7 is doing. It's telling you, you're done here. Now breathe before the next climb. So if you keep seeing 7, stop treating it like a cute signal from the universe. It's a lock clicking shut on a part of you that doesn't fit anymore. It's the number of the soul turning a page. And it's happening whether you're ready or not. Gratitude doesn't always come from the mind. Sometimes it breaks straight through the soul without warning. You might be sitting alone, doing nothing, thinking about everything. And then, like a wave that doesn't ask permission, it hits. This intense, almost overwhelming burst of gratitude. No slow build-up, no reflective moment. It just shows up out of nowhere, and it takes over. You feel it in your chest. Not like an idea, but like a surge. Your throat might tighten, your heart might race. You suddenly remember the people who stood by you, the decisions you barely made it through, the nights you thought would break you, but somehow didn't. And even though life might not be perfect, you're still here, and that fact alone feels massive. What you're feeling is your spiritual memory syncing with the eclipse. Right now, the moon is acting like a signal amplifier, and during this window, your inner timeline collapses into the present. The things you've survived, struggled through, or suppressed suddenly feel known, like your soul is looking at itself and going, "You made it, and I see you." It doesn't always make sense. There may be no reason for the moment it hits, but that's what makes it real. This isn't performative. It's not about manifesting or journaling or aligning with anything. It's a soul recognition. And here's the thing. This sudden flash of gratitude, it's one of the rarest spiritual experiences because you don't create it, you just catch it. And when you do, it resets something. Even just for a moment, It melts the heaviness, the confusion, the overthinking, and you realize that whatever's coming next, you've already made it through worse. So when it hits, don't try to explain it. Don't try to hold it or force it. Just let it shake you, because it's not random. It's alignment. The eyes don't lie, but today they speak louder than usual, and not everyone is ready to listen. Today, looking someone in the eyes might feel like walking into a room with no walls, too exposed, too raw, too much. There's a reason for that. The Pleiades, the seven sisters, are not just a beautiful light cluster. Spiritually, they've always been linked to what's unspoken. Telepathic bonding, soul mirroring, the kind of connection that doesn't need words to cut deep. That's why people say their energy governs the silent understanding between souls, the feeling that someone sees you, not just your face, but the signal behind it. But during this eclipse, that energy is being dimmed, blocked, muted by the moon's shadow. So what happens when you hide a mirror? What happens when something that usually reflects you back to yourself suddenly disappears? People become sensitive, and not the sweet kind of sensitive. We're talking eye contact that feels like someone's looking straight through your spine. You might lock eyes with someone and instantly want to look away, not because you're afraid, but because it's just too intense. Like their gaze is louder than their voice. Or worse, you might sense things in people that you don't want to know. Emotional clutter, confusion, resentment. Truths they haven't said out loud, but are now leaking through their pupils. For some, this makes even casual social interaction exhausting. You go to the store, the cafe, the office, and suddenly you're overwhelmed, not because of sound, but because of faces. And if you're spiritually attuned, you'll notice the switch. People who normally hold your gaze might flinch, or glare, or stare too long. You might sense strangers trying to read you, or shield themselves from you. Some might seem unusually intimate with their eyes, as if a glance lasts just a little too long. Others may seem hostile, distant, cold. This is not paranoia. This is a temporary energetic distortion caused by the spiritual lens of the Pleiades being blocked. It creates social friction, misread signals, and deep emotional projections, all through simple glances. So if it feels like people are staring too hard or avoiding you completely, they are. And it's not personal, it's spiritual static, an invisible short circuit in the silent network of human connection. Let it pass. Some days, the eyes speak louder than the mouth, and some days, it's too much to hear. Not all silence is absence. Sometimes, it's your soul attending a meeting you don't remember scheduling. You'll be talking, listening, typing, scrolling, and then blank. You're gone. Not for long. Maybe 3 seconds. Maybe 5. But in those few seconds, it feels like you left your body and returned without explanation. You blink, shake it off, act like nothing happened. But inside, you know something shifted. It's not forgetfulness, it's not fatigue, and it's not boredom. It's spiritual alignment pulling you out of surface-level reality. This happens when the shadow of the eclipse begins to move. As it starts to pull away from the Pleiades, something strange happens. The energy that was blocked doesn't just return, it rushes back in, like a dam breaking. And your system, your spirit, your subtle body, whatever you want to call it, has to catch up. So it hits pause, temporarily, mid-conversation, mid-task, mid-thought. You're still here, but only halfway. This is the soul stepping aside to handle something beyond language. A recalibration, a retrieval, a sudden internal council meeting you weren't consciously invited to. And here's what's wild. It often happens right when someone's talking to you about something completely normal. Their words fade, their face goes blurry. You nod politely, not even sure what was said. Or you might find yourself staring at your phone, not scrolling, not reacting, just paused, not sad, not tired, not even confused, just somewhere else. And when you snap back, there's no damage. Nothing's wrong. But there's this strange feeling in your body, like you landed back from somewhere high up. It's not déjà vu. It's not zoning out the way it happens when you're bored. This is deeper. This is your energy dipping out of surface reality to touch something more real, even if you never find out what it was. Zoning out isn't you losing attention, it's your soul stepping into alignment without waiting for permission. So don't panic if your mind slips sideways today. Don't overanalyze it. Just know that during this eclipse window, the unseen is closer than usual, and sometimes your system checks in with it, whether you like it or not. It's not about what people say, it's about what their energy screams when they walk in the room. Today, sound won't be the thing that overwhelms you. It'll be presence. People are suddenly showing up like walking amplifiers, and some are turned up way too high. You'll feel it before you understand it. Maybe it starts with a tightness in your chest, or your stomach tensing when someone enters the room. Maybe it's a wave of discomfort around someone you've always tolerated just fine. Or maybe it's the opposite. Someone's presence that used to feel chaotic now feels unusually calming, grounding, like you're standing next to a tree that can't be shaken. This is not random. The Pleiades are linked to vibrational sensitivity, and during this eclipse, when they're partially hidden, something fascinating happens. Your body starts filtering for you, not based on logic, not based on history, based on spiritual density. Spiritual density is the unspoken weight people carry, emotional residue, unprocessed pain, spiritual resistance. And today, under this cosmic configuration, your system becomes like a tuning fork. It starts picking up on who is too much. Not too loud in words or gestures, but in vibration. Their energy enters the room ahead of them and stays behind, long after they've gone. Some people enter a room and bring silence. Others enter and you feel like you're drowning in static. What's wild is you might not even know why someone is suddenly draining. They haven't changed. They haven't done anything wrong. But you walk away from a 5-minute chat with them and feel like you need a nap. That's your body screaming a truth your brain hasn't caught up with yet. You might also notice the unexpected calmness of someone you usually avoid. That's not a mistake either. Some people are beginning to shed density, and your system will recognize it before they do. So don't be surprised if someone you thought you had outgrown now feels magnetic, safe, different. This eclipse strips away social performance and forces spiritual proximity. You'll start realizing that who you tolerate and who you actually want to be around are two very different things. You'll start noticing how someone's emotional energy lingers in your body long after they've spoken. This is the kind of day where your plans might collapse for no reason, and then you realize you were about to hang out with someone who's been spiritually draining you for weeks. Let your instincts lead today. Don't overthink who you're avoiding or who you suddenly want to be near. Your system is doing the sorting for you. When your spirit goes silent around someone, that silence means something. Listen to it. You won't get the answer today, but you'll no longer be able to pretend you don't need one. This isn't the kind of eclipse that ends chapters. It's the kind that flips to the last page of a book you haven't finished, just enough to remind you that you still don't know how the story ends. Partial lunar eclipses are strange like that. They don't block the light entirely. They just interrupt it. Just enough shadow to disturb your clarity, but not enough to deliver peace. Just enough memory to stir what you thought you buried, but not enough resolution to finally exhale. And because this one involves the Pleiades, it hits deeper. This isn't just the moon doing its thing in the sky. This is the moon partially veiling a cluster associated with spiritual lineage, karmic threads, and cosmic memory. That means what resurfaces today is not random. It's old, and it's incomplete. You might find yourself thinking about someone you haven't talked to in years, not out of nostalgia, but because something about the connection still echoes inside you. You might suddenly remember a decision you made in haste, a moment you avoided, a conversation you never finished. And here it is again, pressing into your chest like it just happened. This is the spiritual pressure point, the ache of something unresolved, the moment where the universe doesn't give you closure, but holds a mirror up and says, "This is still open. What are you going to do about it?" The eclipse doesn't answer the question. It just reminds you you're still waiting for one. And yes, it's frustrating. You might feel irrationally angry today, or weirdly impatient, because your soul knows that something is overdue. And this kind of eclipse energy doesn't let you coast. It won't give you the ending, but it will give you the need for one. And sometimes that's more powerful than a clean resolution, because it wakes up the part of you that's been asleep at the wheel. So if a situation, a person, or even just a weird gut feeling resurfaces today, don't ignore it. It's not here to haunt you. It's here to remind you. Closure isn't given. It's made. This eclipse wasn't a spotlight. It was a mirror turned off. You can already feel it, can't you? The mood is heavy, but not dramatic. It's like something quietly clicked out of place in the background of your spirit, and now you're waiting for the echo. But here's what you need to understand. The eclipse hasn't even peaked yet. We're still in the prelude. And even before the full moment arrives, the effects are already here. Subtle, surgical, silent. Because this wasn't an event designed to show you something. It was built to withhold. This wasn't meant to open your third eye. It was meant to turn your head and ask, what aren't you looking at? The Pleiades, the seven sisters, are fading behind the moon. And as their light gets covered, what we lose isn't just stars in the sky. It's guidance. It's orientation. It's the knowing that someone out there sees you clearly, even when you don't. And for a moment, you're on your own. This is what makes today, and especially tomorrow, so uncomfortable. The moon isn't eclipsing light, it's eclipsing witnessing. And when the watchers turn away, we're left staring at our own reflection, without a filter. This eclipse doesn't bring visions, it brings absence. And absence, when you're spiritually awake, is the loudest thing in the room. You might not be having big signs, no synchronicities, no spiritual downloads, just the eerie sense that something is missing. And that's the point. What's missing? That's what this eclipse wants you to ask. Because that missing piece, that blind spot, it's the part of your healing you've been skimming over. It's the truth you've been calling confusion because it's easier than naming it. Ask yourself, where am I still pretending I don't know the truth? What memory, pattern, person, or version of me am I hoping stays hidden? Because this eclipse won't reveal what you're ready for. It'll reveal what you aren't, and it'll wait to see what you do with that discomfort. And after it passes, you don't go back to who you were. You go forward as someone who finally realized the only thing more powerful than light is the silence it leaves behind when it disappears. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.